Welcome back. Today, we'll be exploring the values, history, and unique features of 8 different condition Washington quarter dollar coins. Some of these coins are surprisingly valuable in today's auction market, even in circulated or dirty condition. Let's get started. First up, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark, but this one has some damage. Let's explore how its condition affects its value in today's auction market. The Washington quarter series has been a part of U.S. currency since 1932, and by 1970, quarters were made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, rather than silver. The D Mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The large date, characterized by prominent numerals, makes this coin stand out in the series. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. While it's always great to find a coin in mint or near mint condition, this 1970 quarter is in damaged condition. Whether it's due to wear, scratches, dings, or other forms of abuse, damage can significantly lower a coin's value. In this case, the wear on George Washington's profile, the eagle, and other details are more pronounced. So what's the value of this 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in damaged condition? Normally, a 1970 quarter would be worth around $10 to $15 in good to extra fine condition, but with damage, it drops in value. On average, you could expect to see this coin sell for about $18 to $22 in today's auction market. The coin's value will depend on the severity and type of damage, but generally, damaged coins fetch lower prices compared to their undamaged counterparts. While a damaged coin may not be worth as much as a pristine one, it can still hold value for certain collectors, especially those who are completing a date and mint mark set or who enjoy acquiring coins with history. Some collectors are more focused on the coin's era or its potential for future restoration than on its current condition. So there you have it, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in damaged condition may not fetch a lot in today's market, but it's still a part of the larger Washington quarter collection. If you're a collector or investor, it's good to keep in mind how damage can affect your coin's value. Next up, the 1972 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in extra fine condition. If you're wondering about its value in today's auction market, stay tuned. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932. By 1972, these coins were minted in copper-nickel clad, replacing silver content, but they still have historical significance. The 1972 quarter is part of a very large mintage with over 250 million produced, but certain variations, like the large date and mint mark, still attract the attention of collectors. The large date designation on the 1972 quarter refers to the more pronounced numerals used for the year. The D mint mark tells us this particular quarter was minted in Denver. The large date was part of a change in die styles and can be identified by the noticeably larger and clearer numbers compared to the small date variety. Now, let's talk about what extra fine condition means. In this grade, the coin shows some light wear, but still retains a lot of detail. You can clearly see Washington's facial features and the eagle's feathers, with only minimal signs of wear on the high points. It's a coin that has been circulated, but still looks fantastic for its age. So, how much is the 1972 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark worth in extra fine condition on the auction block? This coin typically sells for around $27,000, depending on factors like demand and current market trends. It's a relatively affordable coin for collectors, especially given its well-preserved condition and classic design. While it's not a rare coin, its value can increase if you find it in a higher grade or if the demand spikes for certain years in the Washington quarter series. To wrap it up, the 1972 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in extra fine condition is a solid pick for any collector looking to add a classic piece to their collection. While it's not one of the most valuable coins out there, it holds steady in value and remains a key date for many collectors. Next up, the 1979 Washington quarter, a large date version with no mint mark in fine condition. Let's dive into its value in today's auction market. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932, and by 1979, these coins were minted in copper-nickel rather than silver. A coin without a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. With over 500 million produced that year, the 1979 quarter isn't rare, but the large date variety does attract attention from collectors. The large date variety of the 1979 Washington Quarter is characterized by the prominent numerals in the year, which stand out more than the small date style. And because there's no mint mark, we know this quarter was minted in Philadelphia, which struck the majority of quarters that year. In fine condition, the 1979 quarter shows clear wear from circulation but retains major details. On this coin, you'll notice that Washington's profile has softened, but the main elements, like the outline of the hair and the eagle on the reverse side, are still visible. Fine condition is mid-range for circulated coins and holds value for collectors interested in date and mint mark variations. So, what's the value of the 1979 Washington Quarter with a large date and no mint mark in fine condition in today's auction market? This coin is valued at around $0.50 to $55. Although it's not a high-value coin, it has appeal as a collectible and is worth more than face value. While it may not fetch a premium, it's still a great find for anyone building a Washington Quarter collection or a date and mint mark set. To sum it up, the 1979 Washington Quarter in fine condition might not be the most valuable in the series, but its large date and no mint mark make it an interesting addition for collectors. It's a piece of American coinage history worth holding onto. Next up, the 1974 Washington Quarter, featuring the large date with no mint mark in very fine condition. Stick around to find out its value in today's auction market. The Washington Quarter has been a staple in U.S. coinage for decades, and by 1974, these coins were minted in copper nickel, not silver. With over 570 million quarters produced in 1974, it's a high mintage year, but there are variations within the series, including the large date. The lack of a mint mark means this quarter was struck in Philadelphia, the primary mint for quarters at the time. The large date variety of the 1974 quarter is identified by the more prominent, bolder numbers in the year. This style was the result of a change in the engraving die used to produce the coins. As for the mint mark, the absence of one confirms that this quarter was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. When it comes to grading, this coin is in very fine condition. In this grade, the quarter shows some wear from circulation, but much of its detail is still sharp. The profile of George Washington is clearly visible, with only light wear on the high points of the coin. The reverse side, with the eagle and the olive branch, remains well defined, which is typical for a very fine-grade coin. So what's the value of the 1974 Washington Quarter with the large date and no mint mark in very fine condition on the auction block? This coin typically fetches between $30,000 or more, depending on demand and the overall market trends. While it's not one of the rarest quarters, the combination of the large date and very fine condition makes it more appealing to collectors. Collectors of Washington Quarters or date and mint mark varieties often look for these coins, making it a solid piece for those building their collections. To wrap things up, the 1974 Washington Quarter with the large date and no mint mark in very fine condition is a great coin for any collector. While it's not high in value, it holds appeal for those looking for unique variations and well-preserved examples. Next up, the value of the 1980 Washington Quarter with large date, Denver mint mark, and graded in extra fine condition. Let's dive into its details and auction value in today's market. By 1980, Washington Quarters were a staple in U.S. circulation. These quarters were struck from a copper-nickel composition, and the large date is a characteristic feature of that period. The D mint mark indicates that this particular quarter was minted in Denver, which produced over 518 million Washington Quarters that year. The large date style on this 1980 quarter is easy to recognize. The numbers are bold and prominent, giving the year a distinct look. Combined with the D mint mark, this quarter is a desirable variety for collectors who aim to complete a date and mint mark collection. In extra fine condition, this 1980 quarter shows only light wear from circulation. Washington's profile and hair details are visible with some light smoothing on the high points. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers and wings retain their detail, giving this coin a sharp appearance that makes it a popular collector's item. So, what's the current auction value of the 1980 Washington Quarter with a large date D mint mark in extra fine condition? Typically, this coin ranges in value from $26,000 in the auction market. Its price is influenced by its well-preserved state and the demand among collectors for date and mint mark varieties. While it's not a high-value rarity, the combination of the large date and Denver mint mark gives it a slight edge over common quarters of lower condition. To sum it up, the 1980 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in extra fine condition is an affordable collectible with a bit of added appeal due to its preservation. Next up, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark graded in good condition. Let's find out what it's worth in today's auction market. By 1970, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 3 decades. The U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year, with the 1970 issue being one of the largest mintage years. The large date variety is distinguished by a more prominent, bold 1970, and the D mint mark indicates this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. One key feature of the 1970 Washington quarter is the large date. You'll notice that the digits are larger and bolder than previous years, a result of a change in the engraving die. The D mint mark, located on the reverse side, shows that this coin was minted in Denver, where over 290 million quarters were produced that year. Now, let's talk about the condition. This 1970 Washington quarter is graded in good condition, which means it has significant wear from circulation in good condition. Most of the details on Washington's face are still visible, but there is heavy wear on the high points, and the lettering may be slightly worn or even faint. The reverse side shows more wear, but the eagle and olive branch are still distinguishable. So what is the auction value of a 1970 Washington quarter with a large date, D mint mark, and in good condition? This coin typically sells for around $40,000 in today's market. While it's not a rare or high-value piece, it's still sought after by collectors who are interested in the specific details of the 1970 Washington quarter series. Good condition quarters like this one are usually more affordable, but still have value due to their age and historical significance. To wrap things up, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in good condition is a great addition to any collection, especially if you're focusing on date and mint mark varieties or just starting out as a collector. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter with a large date and P mint mark graded in extra fine condition. We'll go over the history details and current auction value of this collectible quarter. In 1985, Washington quarters continued to be essential for everyday transactions in the United States. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark, produced over 775 million quarters that year. While they're common in circulation, quarters in extra fine condition with clear details and minimal wear are highly collectible. One standout feature of the 1985 quarter is the bold, large date. The P mint mark on the front side indicates that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. This coin marks a time before the design shift in the Washington quarter series, which adds to its interest for collectors. This coin is graded in extra fine condition, meaning it has minor signs of wear from circulation, but the fine details remain visible. In this grade, you'll see that Washington's profile is still clear, with only light wear on the high points of his hair and face. The eagle on the reverse side is also well defined, making it a desirable coin for collectors. So what is this 1985 Washington quarter worth in today's auction market? In extra fine condition, this coin generally sells for around $43,000. While it's not a rare find, collectors are willing to pay more for well-preserved coins, especially if they're completing a set of Washington quarters from the 1980s. The price can fluctuate depending on demand and the specific condition. So keep an eye on auction listings if you're planning to buy or sell the 1985 Washington quarter with a large date and P mint mark in extra fine condition is a great piece for collectors focusing on high-grade coins from the 1980s. Its value may be modest, but its appeal lies in the quality of its preservation. Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter with a large date and no mint mark found in a dirty or circulated condition. Let's find out what this coin is worth in today's auction market. 1967 was a unique year for U.S. coin production. Due to coin shortages and a high demand for currency, the U.S. Mint produced a massive number of quarters in 1967, but without mint marks to reduce the possibility of collectors hoarding coins by mint location. That year, over 1.5 billion quarters were minted, making the 1967 quarter one of the most common coins in circulation at the time. This 1967 Washington quarter features the standard design with Washington's profile on the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse. The large date is prominently displayed, and with no mint mark, it's clear that this quarter could have been minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This coin is in what we'd call a dirty or heavily circulated condition. You'll notice a lot of wear on Washington's profile and some tarnish from years of circulation. In this condition, most of the finer details, like the texture in Washington's hair, may be worn smooth, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse may show heavy wear. Now, let's talk about the value. In today's auction market, a 1967 Washington quarter in heavily circulated or dirty condition generally sells for around $65,000 or more. This coin does not contain any silver, as Washington quarters from 1965 onward were minted in a copper-nickel alloy. Its value, therefore, is mostly tied to its face value unless it has a unique error or is in exceptional condition. While this coin may not bring a high dollar amount, it's still an interesting piece of numismatic history, especially for anyone focusing on the Washington Quarter series. To sum it up, the 1967 Washington Quarter in dirty or circulated condition is a fun find but doesn't carry much additional value above its face value. However, it's an essential part of the Washington Quarter series, especially for collectors who want to complete a set from the 1960s. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell icon to stay updated on all our coin videos. Let us know in the comments if you have any 1967 quarters in your collection.